Boston Celtics do move on to the next round of the NBA postseason after they dominated the Miami Heat in Game 5, winning 118-84. A fantastic effort from the Boston Celtics, who just recently lost their big man Kristaps Porzingis for at least the next couple of weeks. We're going to be bringing you guys Kristaps Porzingis updates, but first and foremost, I got to give credit where credit's due. Go ahead and spam banner 18 in the comments as the Boston Celtics are now moving on to the Eastern Conference Semis. They'll either face the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Orlando Magic, who did just play their Game 5, are looking at a Game 6. We'll determine who the Celtics will play starting next week in round 2. But before we move on, give your love to the Celtics. Spam your banner 18s down below. Now we're going to be breaking down Kristaps Porzingis injury update. We did make a video yesterday, once it went breaking, that thankfully it was not an Achilles tear. It was a soleus strain, pretty much a fancy word for saying a muscle in the calf. The same injury that Giannis Antetokounmpo did suffer 3 weeks ago against the Celtics and has yet to return to gameplay. But we do have a little bit more updates here coming in from Marc tweeting this out saying, Joe Mazzulla says the Celtics will give Kristaps Porzingis about a week with treatment before reevaluating and possibly knowing more about his timeline for a return to the lineup. I know a lot of you guys were in my comment section saying, what is this update from Woj? Because Woj broke the news saying that Kristaps Porzingis is expected to miss a minimum of several games. That's not a lot of indication for Celtics fans. And I understand we want to know everything as much as possible right now. So give it a week, then we'll know probably the exact timeline as for how long Kristaps Porzingis will be out in the postseason. Jared Weiss also saying Joe Mazzulla did give a quote earlier before the Miami Heat Game 5 on the Kristaps Porzingis injury saying, give it a week and we'll see where he's at. So the Celtics now know what KP needs to do to get that kind of rehab in order to come back as soon as possible. But with KP and his injury history, you want to make sure that you have the rehab done right. You don't want something like Kevin Durant to happen where he comes back dealing with a calf injury and then ends up tearing his Achilles or something like that. You don't want the worst to happen. So we're going to send well wishes. We're going to hope for a speedy recovery for Kristaps Porzingis, but it's looking like we may not be able to see Kristaps Porzingis until the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals, which is a little scary. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a little bit scary, but Smitty pulled up this great stat in our video that's already posted on Celtics Today by Chat Sports that the Boston Celtics are 21-4 without Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, you want KP to play. He's been dominant the entire season, but you have to deal the cards you were dealt. So, knowing that Kristaps Porzingis is going to be out for a couple more weeks, we do have to look at what the Celtics do look like without Kristaps Porzingis. And let me just give you an overall review here. During the regular season, that the Boston Celtics are damn near the exact same team without KP. When it comes to box score, obviously you can do a lot of things off box score, just how he rolls with the offense, how he facilitates, how he works on defense. Obviously, you can't replace Kristaps. We understand that. But the Celtics do still have 5 of the best players right now in the NBA that I think could be able to put up the job, get the job done, because they did just dominate the Miami Heat in Game 5 without Kristaps Porzingis. So we're hoping that every other series takes their sweet time, do what they got to do, take it into 6-7. We don't care. We're going to be practicing, getting ready for round 2 now. We want to play as little games as possible without Kristaps Porzingis. So we'll keep you guys updated here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports on KP injuries. Coming up is our breakdown of Game 5, but first and foremost, you need to be playing Prize Picks. I highly encourage you to play Prize Picks. I play it every single game day. There's a reason why it's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America right now, because it's so fun. It's so aesthetically fun and easy to play. All you have to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. For my Prize Picks, all you guys have to do if you want to try and win some money is just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. My Prize Picks, I have James Harden having more than 17.5 points and Jayson Tatum having more than 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists for the first round of the NBA playoffs. So if you guys want to go on ahead and make yours, you can copy mine. You can go make your own. You can always go and find the community tabs and the promos and find some that celebrities are doing, like Meek Mill, if you are about that. All you guys have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code LNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's truly that easy. Let's talk about what Jaylen Brown did here in Game 5 and really just kind of give an overarching what he did in this series over the Miami Heat. I have the most confidence in Jaylen Brown that I probably had the entire regular season. I think Jaylen Brown is fantastic. What he did against Game 5, 25 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, and you got to give credit where credit's due. JB and Derrick White started this thing, Smitty. They came out scoring immediately, having 8 points from Brown, 7 points from White within the first TV timeout, really putting the Miami Heat's defense on some roller skates with how shifty they were being between the pocket, in the paint, and between the three-point line deep in the perimeter.
Yeah, you talk about Jaylen Brown. Obviously, his scoring came from all 3 levels tonight.
Yep.
Only 1 of 7 from three-point range. The Celtics certainly made up for that disparity over the rest of the game. They shot very well from distance. But Jaylen Brown was taking it to the paint. Can't really say he was hitting his free throws, but he was drawing fouls. And he was scoring at a very high clip, nearly 60% from the field. That's all you can ask for from Jaylen Brown. He was getting it in the paint. He was getting it in the mid-range. Three-pointers, not so much, but we'll take it. He was kind of abusing Tyler Hero whenever he got a switch onto him. I loved what I saw from JB tonight. But like you mentioned, Derrick White, 25 as well. Him and Brown combining for 50. And Derrick White just can't seem to be stopped from three-point range right now, whether it's the catch and shoot, whether it's the pull-up J. He's unconscious from distance right now, and I've loved what I've seen from Derrick White, both on the offensive end and the defensive end as well. You know he'll never take a day off when it comes to defense. But, yeah, I loved what I saw from Derrick White and Jaylen Brown tonight. Those two were the catalysts for the Celtics win, especially early on, like you mentioned.
The confidence, the aggression, that's all there. You guys can look at the box score all you want, but what these guys are doing as a duo right now is fantastic. But I'm not going to single out the other Jay of Jayson Tatum, who truly has been kind of slow to start most of the first quarters in this series, which he's told us earlier in the regular season. He's more the facilitator to get the guy going, and he did that tonight. You see that with 12 boards, 16 points, adding another double-double to his career in the postseason, 50%, 44%. I thought Jayson Tatum just had a great game on both sides of the ball. He read the Miami Heat's offense seamlessly. He knew when to switch. He knew when to break off and really close down that lane to make sure nobody, especially Tyler Hero, had nothing from that jumper towards the elbow, towards that wing. I mean, I think that Jayson Tatum just locked down the Miami Heat's offense, and you can give an excuse saying maybe the Miami Heat weren't giving their best effort in Game 5, but I'm talking about the series, man. I mean, he just lights up, lights down. He was great.
He defends the Heat at a super high level. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, right? 4 of 9. 9 shot attempts by Jayson Tatum should never happen in a postseason game,
right?
Even if you do win by 35, but down the stretch of these playoffs, especially without Kristaps Porzingis, the Celtics are going to have to call upon Jayson Tatum to take over in certain aspects of the game, especially in the scoring margins, because at the end of the day, Jayson Tatum's the best pure scorer we have on this basketball team. Now, if you want to talk about the whole series, the Heat were throwing doubles, if not triple teams, where eyes were focused on Jayson Tatum, and he had to make a read to an open shooter or somebody cutting on the Celtics offense. He didn't have to dominate the scoring tally because he was triple teamed. They were focusing on taking Jayson Tatum out of the ball game and making the rest of the Boston Celtics beat you from beyond the arc and on offense as a whole. So Jayson Tatum, he will be called upon eventually. The Miami Heat just decided that was who they were going to take out of the offense. And it worked and it didn't at the same time. And
may I quickly add on that would have worked last year. That double team, that triple team to Tatum, that's primarily why the Miami Heat took that Eastern Conference Finals, is because Tatum, with that injury, he wasn't able to produce. That's not the team anymore. Thanks to people like Jrue Holiday, thanks to people like Kristaps Porzingis, whenever he does come back, it's not the Tatum show anymore. He has so many resources, and I think it really goes to show his court vision was excellent this series, because every time he was double team, triple team, no pressure.
I agree.
Nobody freaking out. He just outlet pass.
And we talk about Tatum, we talk about Brown defending Tyler Hero on the wing. I want to mention Jrue Holiday as well. He's played excellent defense throughout this whole series. He's finding himself efficient a little bit offensively, but the defense they've played on Tyler Hero throughout the series, taking him out of this Heat offense, taking him out of a rhythm, not letting him get to his spots on the court. It's been masterful. 6 of 19 from the field again, 1 for 8 from 3 for Hero. couple of those looks were open early, but at the same time, the Celtics have put pressure on this guy who's not a traditional ball handler, a traditional initiator of offense, and made him a total non-factor on the only side of the ball that he's effective on. So I love what I saw from this Celtics defense. Obviously, you got Bam Adebayo, who's putting up his 20 to 25 a game in this series. It's just not enough for the Miami Heat.
No, it's not. And just to go back to Hero real quick, the Celtics held Hero under 20 points in 4 out of 5 games. The only time he had over 20 points was in Game 2. He shot 30%. He shot 34% from the three-point line, 38% in the conference in the Game 5 here. And then when you do look at Bam, I do think that Kristaps had his number for majority of this. Of course, you're not going to stop Bam entirely because he is very dominant around the paint. He's going to put up double digits. That's just who the player is as Bam. But even Al Horford tonight, I mean, Horford did something as simple as just 3-and-D type of, technical basketball where he was just shuffling his feet, keeping his hands up, staying in front of Bam. It was something as simple as that. Whereas when you've got somebody with the width and the height of Al Horford, he'd put a number on Bam Adebayo. So overall, very proud of the Celtics defense to hold this really offensive team, high-scoring team, Miami Heat, to blowouts in 3 out of the 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the Celtics, what they did on this night specifically. They shot the ball very well. Let's not act like the Celtics didn't shoot the hell out of the ball, especially in that first half where they were up 22 at the break, end up winning by 34. So they didn't let up in this game either. I will give credit to where credit's due in that facet of the game for the Celtics. They didn't play lax in that second half. They kept the foot on the gas. They knew they had to get out of this game. Made sure that there was no attempt at a comeback for the Miami Heat, who arguably didn't really put in much effort today. Celtics shot 55% from the field. A lot of those looks were easy, especially in the first half. Players were getting wide open lanes to the cup, wide open three-pointers. This is not the Heat's best effort all around tonight, and 40% from 3 obviously helps you there as well. The Heat, 10% from the three-point line. It's not going to work. No. It's not going to work when you're playing an elite shade.
That is ugly.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. And it's just not going to work when you're playing
if they hit a franchise high of most made threes in the postseason, that needs to be a franchise low. That is so ugly.
With 25-plus threes, I don't have the stat on me right now. I bet you that is the lowest percentage the Heat have ever shot from three-point distance
Disgusting!
in a playoff game. Terrible.
Disgusting.
40% from the field. I mean, that's bad. That's bad. They just didn't play good ball tonight. They didn't come with their A game. They didn't come with a lot of effort, and they definitely didn't come with a three-point jumper. So
no, they left that in Miami. With that being said, the job's not finished. And while this was great, while this was a real test, I'm kind of glad now looking back on it, I'm kind of glad the Celtics did lose at least one game in the series to really poke them and say, hey, look, you're not invincible. You're not going to sweep. You're not going to have the record that you had in the regular season, a bit of a wake-up call. You let up a little bit off the gas in this postseason. They will take advantage of it. So for the fact that they lost that one, it obviously didn't matter. They still took them in 5. I think that just shows, you're not – you got a tough competition coming up here, and that's where competition does come in.
And this is where Cleveland and Orlando come into play in round 2. Who do you guys want?
Who do you want? Type Cleveland, type CLE for Cleveland, type ORL for Orlando. You guys got to remember, we did lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the regular season. We lost the Magic in the regular season. They both have our numbers when it comes to that. But overall, they're fighting in Game 6. That is what the future does look like. Let me know who you want in the next round for the Boston Celtics.
That game's on Friday, and in my opinion, I think we're getting the Cavs. I just hope that Boston uses that loss that they had earlier in the season, and they don't take the Cavs lightly at all because they know they can make shots, they know they can hit threes, and they're a much better offensive team than Miami Heat. So I'm typing my CLEs. What do you guys got down below?
I got my ORLs, man. I want the Magic, man. I think we have
shout out Paolo. He's been balling.
I think we have more assets, and I think it'll be a little
That'd be much easier. Oh, don't get me wrong. That's an easier matchup.
Easier.
They can't shoot. They struggle to get their own
shot.
But
I wanted Miami in first round because I wanted to get that number back from last year, and that wasn't the easier path. So you got to – everybody's got their things. You want to see Donovan Mitchell? There you go. You got Cleveland. So, all right, while you guys are at it, go on ahead and hit that sub button for me. We'll be live for every single Boston Celtics game after this, all the way to Banner 18, baby. Putting you guys on with everything you need to know about the Boston Celtics. Subscribe for me.